something. Okay. Hello. Josh Mike.
Alright, what's going on, guys? My name is Corey. I'm here with Kellen. We are going to cast today's tournament at game night.
MayHAM 2024.
Oh, yes. What are you expecting today, Kellen?
A lot of Sisse, a lot of Kinnan, as per usual. But I know a lot of the people here, like our local store area, bring some spicy stuff. Excited to see what new brews are out there. Excited to see like what's going on. A couple of known players are also here today, right?
Yes, we have Ashani, and I'm pretty sure we have Kai here as well.
Probably running the, what you said, Narset to me earlier, and then Ashani on Kinnan, whatever version of Kinnan he's running.
I know we have Craig from Beholder that is on Lord Windgrace today, so I think that's going to be a bit of a spicy take.
Yeah, I've been playing with him a lot lately, and honestly, Windgrace was my all-time favorite commander when I was playing EDH a lot, like casually, and to see it in a competitive place is really cool to see. I don't know how proficient he is yet, but like with some tweaks, he's been getting better and better at it, which is really cool.
100%. Definitely seeing one of our local guys grow and do better with the deck. It's definitely going to be really nice to watch. Hopefully we get him on a feature match. It'll be really cool to get to talk over his games through somebody that we know personally.
Yeah. I mean, we're in for a long haul today. We got, what, 80 players today?
Yes.
Yeah. Big tournament. Gold event for those top deck people who are caring about points. We're getting to the end of the season, too, right? Ends in July-ish, right? So not a lot of gold events left for you to get those points. At least big chunked points, right? Because gold events, you place top 64, you get points, as opposed to like bronze events where it's really only top 16 or top 10 that you get anything.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good day. I think we're definitely gonna see some spicy stuff. It's gonna be nice to watch.
What is one deck that like you've been thinking lately that is like it's kind of not as much seen, but is interesting to look at, like interesting to play against?
All right, let's go to a personal brew that you and I have been trying to work through in Tazri. I definitely would like to see more people play it, but it's when you compare it to Sisse and Nixilis, it's just not going to be a deck that's going to be able to put up the numbers that Sisse and Nixilis are able to put up. Yeah,
yes.
I think it's one or two cards away. But it's just like we were talking the other day about Naya Dargo with Sidar.
Gosh, Sidar.
I think it's in the same boat as Naya Sidar.
Yeah, I mean, as a huge Dargo fan, I mean, for those of you who know me, like Hebrew Hercules on Discord, I played Dargo Tymna a lot, and a lot of Dargo Thrasios are the two decks I played the most. And huge fan of Dargo and Dargo game plans, but it's just right there. You're right, like one or two cards, I think would be so good.
Absolutely.
And with like Academy Rector being able to sack to Dargo, getting greater good out and stuff like that is so sick.
It's definitely a deck that we've tried brewing it, and we came to the same conclusion that it's one or two cards away, and then it's gonna be a real powerhouse.
Yeah, I think the one person who's been playing it lately locally is Brandon, right? Reaper, as people know him on Discord. I mean, he's actually the one who got me into Dargo Tymna. So like to see him do that, like I don't think he's gonna play today, but it would be kind of cool to see.
Absolutely. Brandon was definitely one of the first locals that I remember playing any Dargo deck, with Dargo Ikra being one of the first ones that I saw.
Yeah.
And that deck it's cracked.
Yeah, I mean, like Connor is the main guy. He top forward like Punt City, right?
Yep.
He claims it's the most consistent turn 2 deck in the format.
Absolutely.
And like a lot of Rockside players may not like to hear that, but yeah, I mean, every time I see Dargo Ikra, it's insane. It's so fast, but it stops to a stiff breeze.
Yes.
You know,
the wind blows the wrong way, and the turn is over, and you're just sitting there not doing anything for the rest of the game.
Yeah. But like, I always wish there was another Golgari partner. You know, because I think Rayhan is fun. Ikra's like it's a thing, and like getting life back is okay, but something a little bit more juicy would be nice. You know.
Yeah, I've been I've been messing around with Kraum a little bit off of
Okay.
Scylla's list,
Okay.
and making a couple minor tweaks here and there. But for the most part, it's Scylla's list, and it's been a good time to play. Just a huge learning curve, learning the different combos because you're not running your normal. You're still running like your breach lines and things like that, but that's just a mainstay if you're running blue red. And so you're running cards like Massacre Girl and
That's wild.
and Niv Mizzet.
That's
and
wild. Well, I mean, Niv Visit's so good.
Absolutely.
It's so good.
But when you pair it with Niv Mizzet and Massacre Girl allows you to draw the card if a creature dies if it has less than 1 toughness, which with the Niv, once you draw a card, you're able to ping. And so it's really easy to start that little combo line, but it's a fun deck. It definitely has a learning curve though.
Does that put more triggers than Massacre Girl on the stack?
What do you mean?
Like, so when Massacre Girl enters, things die. When things die, -1/-1 counters come back on, right?
No, so this is the new Massacre Girl.
Oh, the new one.
That gives everything Wither.
Oh, that's gross. That's so
And
gross.
so,
That's so gross.
all of your creatures have Wither, which means that they deal in neg1 damage, and so
and that still triggers Niv?
Yep. Oh no, it has has a triggered ability that says whenever a creature dies, if it had less than 1 toughness, then you draw a card. And so with the Niv trigger, you're able to ping down creatures, and obviously that'll negate the toughness. And once a creature dies with 0 toughness, you'll get to draw a card.
It's actually interesting that you're talking about how it's doing that with creatures, especially in this area, Nashville area. Really creature heavy meta.
Absolutely.
Like I know a lot of people who talk to us like from other around say that our meta is kind of weird. And like,
yes.
First of all, thank you, but also like,
I mean,
really,
we also have a Tymna in our meta, so can we really?
Whoa! Don't be hating on Abzan, man. It's the top tier tech. What do you mean? Sorry, Joe. It's not.
I don't know about top tier, but Joe is a very talented Tymna pilot, and I'm really upset that he's not here today to go off with it.
Yeah, honestly, he's like one of my favorite people to play with.
Absolutely, very talented, very very knowledgeable player as well.
Yeah.
He definitely learned. I have definitely learned a lot from him so far, just playing with him a couple of times, and so.
Yeah. What deck do you think is going to get the most spots in the top 16 today? Like, what deck do you
Blue
think?
Farm.
Blue Farm, yeah.
I think the initial thought is going to have to be Blue Farm or Sisse.
Yeah.
I do know that there are a couple of Kinnan pilots out there right now, but I think for the most part it's going to be either Blue Farm or Sisse.
It was funny that I was talking to a guy out there. I'm like, "Oh man, how are you playing?" And he's like, "I'm like, what are you playing?" And he's like, "Can't tell you." I'm like, "I'm not playing today." He's like, "It's Kinnan." Okay, dude, that's not that spicy. Like, bro, we know what Kinnan is.
I remember, I think it was last week, me and you played in Camden.
Yeah.
And I played Tazri, and everybody was like, "Oh, cool. What are you playing? You're playing Najeela?" Because I think a couple weeks before that I had played Najeela. I was like, "No, but I'm playing like Najeela Light." And once they read the commander, they're like, "Bro, you're doing party stuff? What?"
Bro, party time. Excellent.
Exactly,
yeah, let's
dude.
go. Yeah, I mean, Camden, like, it's out there, man. But, like, a really good crew. A lot of the people that played out there I thought were really good pilots. Some newer guys, too. Which I love seeing new players, especially in smaller tournaments, so that they get a little bit more exposure to, like, what it is to be playing a cEDH game. And, like, growing the format is really nice.
Absolutely. Watching players that focus more heavily on the casual scene venture over and kind of start dabbling into the competitive scene is definitely really nice to watch as you watch them grow as not only as pilots of their deck but also players in general, learning when to interact, how to interact, what triggers, that kind of thing. And that's definitely something that I've come a long way for since I've come back to cEDH after a year-long hiatus.
Yeah. It's funny, even though, like, and also being a smaller tournament, you'd think that sometimes the competition isn't as strong. But I tell people a lot, like, when I was back in wrestling in high school, one of the toughest tournaments I ever faced was 8-man, but it was all state qualifiers.
Yeah.
So, like, just because Camden was a smaller tournament, Justice was there. Carlos is a really good pilot. He's had some spicy brews on Kinnan. He's had some spicy brews on Rocco. He's a really good pilot. We had you were there with Tazri. I think that was really strong. I was there with Dargo Thrasios. We had a guy on Magda and a couple of Jetmir players. Like with the 16-man
Yeah.
tournament, 2 Jetmir players. I'm like, really?
And
Okay.
one of those Jetmir players actually,
He's here.
yeah, he has Winota in the 99, and that was
Spicy.
That was a real spicy take. I didn't expect to see a Winota off of a Jetmir.
Talk about a fall from grace. Winota used to be the big boogeyman.
Yeah, it was.
Like, not even that long ago. And now we're talking about how Winota's, like, unplayable. And it's starting to come back, though.
Absolutely. I think with the new sets and having some of the more stacksy pieces come out that you're able to use them as the non-humans to get the Winota triggers to go find your humans, I think is definitely like with Doorkeeper Thrall being a flyer, being able to get that damage on. It definitely makes it. I think Winota's on the way back.
Nice. Sounds like the player meeting is like going on right now. Like they're just kind of starting to. So we're gonna get started pretty soon with the tournament. There we go. We're starting to look at the first couple of decks. The first table, right? I see an Ob Nixilis already, which is that deck is cracked. It's so fun.
Okay, so once we get the player names, we'll transition over to where y'all can see the player. But right now we have a Tevesh Kraum, an Ob, and a Varragoth.
Is that what that mono black is? It's a Varragoth.
It is a Varragoth.
That's hot. All right. What do we have for
top left?
Top left is Caleb.
Absolutely.
All right. So
we're going to go ahead and transition over to
big
the
table.
pod right now. We have Caleb Simmons on Tev Kraum. We have Jared Webb on Blue Farm. So already starting off with first pod having Blue Farm in it. We have Emma Johnson on Ob and Adam N. Jacobson on another really spicy list being Varragoth. So we'll see how this plays out.
Varragoth that's the mono black, like 30 CMC. Is that
Yes.
one? This is the one that spiked that one tournament. Like 4
Yep.
people got. Yo, let's go.
This
Okay.
is the one that's running a total CMC of like 38, and you're trying to get
So, yeah, you can't miss.
absolutely.
You cannot miss.
You're trying to get Adnaz out as quick as possible.
And who's in seat 1 right now? I believe it's
Caleb Simmons is
seat 1.
Seat 1.
Okay, so if you're Adam, right? You're in seat 4. You're clearly everyone knows a Turbo Nas deck at a table with 2 blue and an Ob Nixilis. What exactly are you going to do as far as like what's your window, you think?
I think your window is just. I don't think you change your game plan at all. I think as a Varragoth brewer, I brewed it for a very, very little. I realize that a stiff breeze can knock that deck over real quick.
Yeah.
But it I don't think your game plan changes at all.
You just try to turn
go
it, you just jam it, make them have it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Turn 3, if not before that. I think you make them have the counter magic, and if
That's
they
the
don't,
turbo
you
way.
take the win.
The turbo way, right?
Absolutely.
Make them have it. Make them have it.
Absolutely.
I find it really interesting. Like, so Tev Kraum, right, is really good. obviously it's a Grixis shell, right? And it's like, and people call it Big Brother to Rogsai because it can turbo out those wins.
Absolutely.
But it's really good in the grind game with that Tevesh. Like, people don't realize that the longer that game goes with the Tevesh out, the scarier it gets. But then you have Blue Farm right next to you, who's also this massive draw engine machine with both Tymna and Kraum.
That's what Blue Farm wants to do, though. It wants to get those engines on board, and it wants to, if it has a window early on, then it's very happy to take that window. But if it needs to sit back and kind of relax and just continue to put engine after engine after engine on board, then it's very happy to do so.
Yeah. And Nixilis is obviously, like, I think they're really in a good spot too, because
I think the number one card that Ob needs to be looking for is that Cataract Parasite. I think
oh my gosh, if it gets Cataract,
if it gets Cataract on board, I think Ob has a very good chance of taking this round very easily too, with how many draw engines both Tev, Kraum, and Tymna Kraum are going to be able to put on board.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially with like Mystic Study and
Absolutely.
like Mystic Remora. People don't play for Mystic Remora nearly as much, but Mystic Study, people are either A, going to have to play very responsibly, or B, they are going to get drowned in advantage with Nixilis. Like,
well, I think it also comes down to the One Ring is a staple card right now, and so both decks are going to be playing the One Ring. And so that's, you have Fish, you have Ristic, and you have the One Ring. Those are three very strong draw engines. And for Blue Farm, I have seen a couple of Blue Farm lists kind of slotting in a card that I teched you into with Trouble in Pairs.
Oh, man.
And I'm not sure if this list is running Trouble in Pairs, but I know a couple of them have been testing it, coming off of Adnaz actually to test it. And so it's gonna be a fun round to watch.
I know a lot of people in the Dargo Discord do not like me saying this, but you all need to be on Trouble in Pairs.
100%.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, but if you asked me, this was the logic presented to me by Just Corey, that if I could have a Kraum and a Megara, which isn't as common, but I also run Tymna as my commander, so I could have a Kraum and a Tymna, and you can stop Tivit extra turns or Final Fortune turns, but you only play 4 mana for it. Would you have it? Yeah? Okay, well, Trouble in Pairs.
You have 3 different card slots that you're able to use Trouble in Pairs in as one card slot. It did work for me in Pantlaza whenever I played it, and it won you a tournament a couple weeks ago.
It did
on Dardu, and so it puts in work. If you're playing white and you have a mid-range game plan, I definitely think Trouble in Pairs should definitely be slotted in. At least give it a try.
Someone's saying right here, Webb's deck does not have Trouble in Pairs in it, but in a Blue Farm deck, you have so many draw engines.
Absolutely.
Not that big of a deal, right? You just it's just Grixis with a little bit of white, right? A little bit of silence effects.
Absolutely.
So,
it's just an enlightened Rogsai. That's all it is.
Is Adam just reading Tevesh, like sounding out the words? Like, what's going on? Why is he? I guess he's never played against Tevesh before, maybe.
Tevesh is a card.
Yeah.
It's a tank too. It is. I enjoy playing Tevesh. I've recently been trying to brew out Tev Thrasios because Displacer Kitten is a drug.
Oh, dude, Tevesh
so
and
much
Displacer
fun.
Kitten, it's like so fun.
Absolutely.
It's storming off with your own. It's like you're like built add-ons at home kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun.
Being able to watch Displacer Kitten come in and flicker your Tevesh and then watch you do it again and again and again. It's pretty cracked and I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a good time brewing it, and I know you've been talking about doing Tassiger instead of doing Tevesh Thrasios, and I think you are. See, we have Lamb King Joe himself saying Francisco Thrasios is the way.
Did Joe hear us about our Tyam comment? No, he must not have.
He must not have. No. Probably not. He didn't hear how we were
loving on Tyam,
saying that he was a great Tyam pilot.
Oh, you said that, not me. I'm just kidding, Joe.
Best deck in the format?
Facts.
I doubt that, buddy.
Bro, spicy top 15 like deck tech videos right here. Let's go. All right. If I'm not mistaken, did Caleb mold a 4? Is that what he's showing with his dice, or is that just a dice out there? Because
I think he's on 4.
That's wild. That's a rough start. That is a very rough start. Like mulling to 4 with a blue farm next to you and on Nixilis that could just gain card advantage so quick. That's on a Grixis shell is, yeah, he mulled to 4.
Mold of 4, so you have a turn 1 Tevesh with a Mystic Reflection for the Thralls.
Man, let's go. Mystic Reflection for that dockside. That ob is
Absolutely.
hell yeah. So, I think being in position 1 though, like you really have 5 cards like going in because you have your first draw, right?
Absolutely.
For anyone else, what would you mull for here? If you're mulling to 4 and you know you're going down, and you're in seat 1, what are you really hoping for here?
An early draw engine, whether it be a turn 1, turn 2 Ristic, if not a turn 1 Fish.
I mean, turn 1 Fish would fix this problem real
Absolutely.
quick.
Absolutely.
Especially, there's no green out here, so any ramping you're going to see is all going to be artifact or non-creature.
Absolutely. Looks like we have hands.
Catch these hands.
Looks like Ob is on 6, it looks like.
That's a good start, yeah.
Varragoth, it looks like, is on 4 or 5. So, mold pretty
Hashtag
low.
Dark Ritual.
Yeah.
Turn 1 Dark Rit. And
Varragoth is on 4. Caleb is on 4.
Caleb's on 4 as well.
And I think Jared is on 5 or 6 as well. So,
which actually really bodes well for the Nixilis at 6.
Yes.
That's really good for that.
Yeah, I agree, Guilty. These moles are crazy.
How aggressively do you mull with a Grixis engine like this, though? Or even with Blue Farm, right? Because you have draw engines like built into the deck, so how aggressive can you be with that?
I think if you can find a turn 1 Tevesh or a turn 1 draw engine, be a ring or a Ristic or a Fish, I think if you can turn 1 a solid draw engine, then I think that's what you mull for here.
We have a Gitaxian probe. Probing looks like Blue Farm real quick. Bleeding a little bit on that hand right there. I saw maybe a Ristic Study, question mark. Gitaxian Probe is essentially a free card draw.
Absolutely.
Right? One of a card stock machine with staples right there.
Yes.
Draw so many cards.
2 life for 1 card. I'll take that any day of the week.
I mean, shoot, man, we run ad nauseam. We take 5 for a card sometimes. So yeah, we have Badlands.
So there's a
Mana Crypt.
Badlands into a Mana Crypt.
That's a good bowl right there. And
into an Imperial Recruiter.
Wonder what do you get with Imperial Recruiter on turn 1 in seat 1?
Do you flash the dockside first?
I think you do. I think if you flash the dockside, right?
I think that holds everybody back from being able to put their mana rocks on board because they know you have it.
Yeah. So like, if they call your bluff, right, and they have to run, fine. I'll run out my Tevesh and my Kraum.
100%.
Then, sure, that's fine with me. Displacer.
Going to get Displacer Kit.
Okay, so that means he probably has a blue mana source in his hand of some kind, right? And what also is interesting about that, Displacer Kit is best with Tevesh. That's 9 mana. So if you're looking at 9 mana on
turn 2,
on turn 2 or 3, that's wild, right?
I wonder if that means he has the dockside in hand.
That's probably a good indicator right there. I guess turn and see. Oh, we're going that direction. Looks like Adam plays a swamp. Turn 1? No, he just has a swamp out there for some reason. Okay.
Did he gemstone? I can't tell if he gemstone for.
I have no idea. Oh, Adam was seat 1. Okay, well there you go. Adam was seat 1, and then so in seat 2 we have the Displacer Gamble.
We have Jared on an early gamble.
Gamble's a really good card.
Absolutely.
That's the Red's tutor, or they call Red Entomb, right? That's the old joke. But with a card or a deck, sorry, like Blue Farm,
you don't care if you put a card in the yard.
Nah, you really don't.
It slows you down for a little bit until your turn 3, turn 4 breach, and then it doesn't matter anymore.
Like, oh no, cards in the graveyard with breach, oh no.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this ob deck can do with a 6 mole.
Well, and now we're saying in seat 4.
Yeah.
Right?
So Varragoth being in seat 1 mulling that low makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Than what we initially thought. And so
also Caleb, in seat 2. Yeah. You got these engines. I'm gonna tell you, man, like whenever I play in seat 4 with a turbo deck, you really have to know how to choose your windows.
Absolutely.
Like, and you really pray that someone else is going for it first. Because lately it's been a lot of, they went for it, okay. now's my turn because everyone used their interaction.
Absolutely, and I've fallen victim to that so many times, being a ROG player.
Right.
So we have 7 in hand.
7 in hand, gamble, rolls, chooses 2. Okay,
It
pitches
is
the Mox.
mobile.
I don't think that's what he got.
I don't think that's what he tutored for.
I don't
it
think
might be.
I mean, I don't think he wanted to pitch it, but I don't think that's what he tutored for either.
It might have been.
Think so? Mox Opal?
No, absolutely.
Okay, I was about to say. I was like, really?
All right, let's see. Let's see this turn 1. Did he?
All right, so we had the City of Brass.
We had the City of Brass for the gamble. Pitch the Mopal.
Passing turn. That's interesting.
Yep, pass turn to
Do you think he? I mean, that's the thing with like red nowadays. If you told me a deck has just Dockside and Breach for its red, that's still viable.
Absolutely. Lotus Petal, Arid Mesa, Cracking for
Badlands.
Badlands.
Yeah, it has to be a Badlands at this point.
And it looks like they're going to shortcut and go ahead and pass.
Yeah.
Go grab the Badlands and pass. All right, let's
All
see.
right, we got
Adam.
Cabal
Coffers. I haven't seen that in a minute.
cEDH staple, baby. Let's go.
Cabal and a Cabal and pass for back to Caleb.
Yep.
Rolling for the Crypt. He took his 3. So now that you know that he has the Displacer Kitten in hand, we're looking for that blue source.
Yep.
And do you jam the Kitten now?
If he has the blue source, I think I would. Because that's 4 mana you don't have to spend later.
Absolutely.
But he's tapping.
Blue Farm's tapped out. He's only tapping 3.
There's the Dockside.
The Dockside.
So remember how we said like they had the Dockside in hand, but the count is only 1. So maybe that's how he had to get his blue source. Now he's just setting up, which would be really, that's rough.
Absolutely.
I don't think I would play this out, man. Like maybe that's just me, but otherwise he probably would have had to just pass.
Do you sack the Lotus Petal with your Amma?
No.
To prevent him? That's 2 mana or 3 mana now, technically with the Mana Crypt being tapped, that you're having to use for a Dockside that doesn't get anything at this point.
He still has that 1 floating, right? And he's gonna sack it immediately.
Looks like there's the fish.
Yep, there's the Mystic Remorse. So yeah, he had the draw engine in hand, and he needed that Dockside for that blue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was waiting for someone else to play some sort of artifact or something like that. But honestly, Mystic Remora now with 3 mana to just burn into it for a couple turns is nice.
Looks like we're gonna swing over a blue farm with the Imp Recruiter.
Yeah, punch him, get him. Imp Recruiter, catch these hands.
Absolutely.
Every eye on Oz deck, right? Like you hit him where you can.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
It sucks being a Nas player myself. It sucks getting punched early, but
It do be that way.
When you play the card, you play the card.
We got Mana Crypt, tapping for 3, losing another life for City of Brass. For that Ristic. See, bled that Ristic. He knew it was coming, right? Mystic Remora, Trigger Fish.
So the gamble was for the. Do you think the gamble is for the Crypt or the Study?
The Crypt, for sure. I think because I remember with the Gitaxian Probe.
There's the Bowmaster.
There's a Bowmaster. That's why he didn't sack. This is going really well for, I think, Blue Farm, because they're not going to worry too much about that Orcish Bowmaster punching unless they get too far ahead. But yeah, I definitely think they tutored for that Crypt and then just held it because they didn't want to up the Dockside count.
Absolutely. Bleeding the Displacer Kitten on the Imp Recruiter definitely gave me, and I'm sure Jared felt the same way, gave immediate knowledge that he already had the Dockside in hand, because otherwise you would just tutor for the Dockside with the Imp Recruiter.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so I think him going to grab the Displacer Kitten definitely showed that he already had it, and so holding back that Mana Crypt held him back for 1 mana. That's important.
That Orcish Bowmaster, when Ob gets out, is so freaking good with every draw. It's just, you draw, I'll draw. You draw, I'll draw. So good.
Absolutely. It's definitely a very toxic duo.
Mm-hmm.
A dynamic duo.
Looks like he's punching, or he hit Caleb with the first ETB trigger. He didn't take away the Imp Recruiter. That's... Yeah, went off to this turn. They just passed turn. Tapping 2, Spire of Industry, right? Tapping the colors, and Fellwar Stone, Fish, and Ristic, right? And the Orcish Bowmaster guy's like, fine, just draw.
Go ahead, draw. let me get my ob out, and then we'll see who wants to draw past that.
Yeah. I think, next turn they'll get Ob, which is really an interesting pacing, right? That would be a turn 3 Ob.
I agree with that, Joe. I do think me and Kellen obviously just talked about it, but I definitely think it was a little strange that the recruiter didn't get hit with the with known Displacer Kitten in hand.
Yeah, I mean, because that's just free tutors at that point, right?
100%.
I mean, and he's definitely got copy spells in there. Definitely got like a flesh duplicate, a phantasmal image, something of that nature. There you go, catching strays with Jared with this Orcish Bowmaster, right? I think he's gonna try and ping them both down their lives because they both probably run Adnos.
Guilty. I think that's also a very good point, and that might be Emma's thought process on it is waiting to hit until they target. And I definitely think that could be a thought process, but just sitting back and not knowing what they're thinking, definitely a little odd for me. I would have definitely hit the Imp Recruiter.
Yeah, and even if you're not,
looks like Varragoth just no land and passed.
Dude, that mold of 4, rough.
Absolutely.
And Cabal Coffers being one of your lands, this is the reason why a lot of decks don't run this card, right? Even when they do have heavy black, like Keurig or something like that, they don't run it because it's just a dead land drop right now.
All right, so we're looking for a land drop from Caleb, and it doesn't look like he got one.
Nope. So he's probably going to pay for, I mean, he has to do that before he draws, right?
Absolutely.
So he's probably going to pay for it. I mean, if he had a dockside for even Romana Source, yeah, he's paying for it.
Absolutely. And Guilty, that you make another very good point. Flickering the dockside to filter the mana is definitely going to be something that he's going to be wanting to do.
The problem with that is that the Orcish Bowmaster...
Oh, we got another land.
He probably drew that.
Looks like a Morphic Pool.
Yeah, Morphic Pool, tap for 3, cast his own Ristic. And, of course, Ristic not paying for that, because he can't. But now we have 3 draw engines on the board with a Orcish Bowmaster.
Absolutely. I definitely think...
Our producer giving us instructions. Saying, just Kyle. Saying we need to leave? No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, we're doing bad? What?
That didn't take long, right?
Now that we have the Ristic and Mystic on board, how do you think they play this?
I mean, this is just a sit back and grind plan, right? The Orcish Bowmaster will go a little bit at a time. He's swinging with both Imp and Dockside, which is, against the blue farm. Okay. I think that keeping the Imp Recruiter back now as a blocker for that big army is probably going to do something in the end.
Absolutely.
It's going to come into play, I think.
Joe said, I'd probably just want to limit as many options as Kitten to be able to hit. And again, all very valid points. I don't think that hitting the Recruiter was a bad idea. I don't think not hitting it and waiting for the actual target was a bad idea. I think it's all about how you want to play it as the player, and obviously we saw Amma not hit it. Yeah. And so I think they're definitely going to go on the side of what Guilty was talking about.
Like hitting that life total down.
Absolutely. Or hitting the life total or waiting until they target it, and then because you're going to get a draw on the Displacer Kitten cast before anything else, and so hitting the dockside or hitting the Imp Recruiter on the cast with the Ristic and Mystic draws.
You know what else, though? This Varragoth deck is in a really rough spot.
The Proxied card is going to be the Orc Army Super 1 for the Orcish Bowmasters.
Yeah. Yeah, about, now you have 3 drawn engines out, right? I think we're at a point for Ob, or they're not going to, they have their Ob next turn, assumingly with another land drop or some sort of mana.
Absolutely.
Right? But they're sitting pretty right now because no one else is really threatening anything.
They took another 3 from the Mana Crypt.
This is gonna get hairy real quick, especially without a blocker.
Let's see what
I too had taken a second loof at board. I too seen loofs.
I think he's talking about, or they're talking about when they asked what the anime art altar was. Yeah. There's an LED, but still no creatures for the blocks from Caleb or from Amma.
Yeah, this is looking pretty hairy for Blue Farm right now because it being Blue Farm, it's gonna get noticed. It's going to
Absolutely.
get swung at, and with no blockers.
Well, they could do a Tymna. They're
I mean, they have the mana for it, and they can pay for
Absolutely.
the Rhystic, so which is nice. But they did cast an LED with a Mystic and a Rhystic out, which to me, I'll tap it for 3 now, right?
Yep. There's
Demonic
the
Tutor?
Demonic Tutor floating one,
Oh, and
sacrificing the LED.
Uh-huh.
Are we going to get Breach?
I mean,
You have to go get Breach, right?
yeah, I mean,
Sacking the LED, unless you're Hellbent.
you are now, right?
Well, even before that, if Demonic Tutor was the last card in hand, sacking the LED just makes the most sense. That way you don't pitch the card that you're going to tutor for, obviously.
Sure.
But do you go get Breach here?
I mean,
Going through a Rhystic and a Mystic?
So how many cards does he have in graveyard? 3 right now.
It looks like
without
3.
I mean, he cracked it for red. He's getting Breach.
100%.
Yeah, and then I mean the window here is right. Everyone's tapped out. Varragoth's not going to interact with you. It can't really interact with you unless he has a red elemental blast, and that's only for blue cards anyways.
Yep.
And you're just hoping that Tevesh Kraum doesn't draw into interaction here.
But I think against two draw engines like Mystic and Rhystic, I think this might be the only window that he sees with his life total going down as quickly as it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that Orc army is getting nice and big right now too.
So how many cards did he pitch to the Lion's Eye crack?
I think he was Hellbent after the Demonic Tutor, and so he cracked it
So
to
what
prevent
is
the pitch.
So let's say he casts Breach. He has no other cards, so it has to be a Brain Freeze. That's why I kept the City Brass open, right? You hit Brain Freeze. But you have to Demonic Tutor for that too.
Yeah.
So even if he does get Breach here, he gets 1 cast of a spell.
And it can't be LED.
It can't be LED.
You'd have to rely on the Lotus Petal past that.
Yeah, you'd have to. And pray to God you have it, right?
Absolutely.
But sometimes, honestly, you just need to do that.
And sometimes it's what you got to do.
You know your window closes quick, and even if the window is small.
Oh, he did pitch cards.
See, there it is.
That makes a lot more sense.
Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. What is that below the Fierce?
I'm not sure what that is.
Maze of Is? What is happening here?
All right.
I think it's Cheyenne from Tenchi Shitun Slime. Joe with the anime references, thank you. We'll rely on you for that.
All right, so we have LED in yard.
I see a chain of vapor, double red pip. Is that a Final Fortune or a Last Chance? Yeah, there's the Breach.
There's the Breach.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So this is exactly what you needed to have happen for Blue Farm. And
see, the thing here though is that everything he's casting is going to trigger a Mystic and a Rhystic.
And he paid for the Rhystic, and so now we're waiting. Looks like he's going to draw off the Mystic.
Oh no, he didn't pay for the Rhystic.
He did. He tapped the City of Brass because he had he tapped Mana Crypt for the Demonic Tutor, so he had that one floating.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Because he's still at two red.
Good call. So he has to play the LED here.
Yeah, he has to. Emma's gonna have a fun turn. I agree. If it gets back to their turn, I think Emma's gonna have a blast of a turn.
Yeah, I think it's really funny that people forget how fun it is just to hit someone with a big creature. You know, good old fashioned beatdown.
Mm-hmm.
The thing here is if he misses, if he whiffs on this and he gets stopped, which is very possible.
Yeah,
how many cards have you drawn, Tevesh Kraum, at this point?
So many cards.
Yeah, and then if you're Emma, you're gonna try and kill Jared to get rid of that dockside count.
Absolutely.
There's the gamble. Okay, so he uses that gamble again.
And he doesn't. He could pay with a red.
He could. He ain't.
It doesn't look like he will.
No, I think at this point you go for the brain freeze, right?
Absolutely. I think Brain Freeze is the only logical option. You already have Gamble and LED in the yard now. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
You already have Gamble and LED in the yard. I think Brain Freeze is the only thing that you can go get here. There's not another logical option.
But they don't have any other color floating other than. So then you got to cast the LED up. But look at that.
There's the misstep.
There's that. Where's that interaction? Probably drew into that.
Well, now he has to worry about paying for his Rhystic.
Which you can't do. He's tapped out.
Absolutely. And so that's another card that Jared's going to get. Do you take the draw with the Orc army as big as it is already?
Oh, 100%. Because you're going for it now, right? You're already locked in. You're going. If you get stopped, you're not living. Yeah. I think that
I agree, guilty. I definitely think Caleb is making the right call. Even if he could pay, I don't think he would to let him draw. Because with the Orc Army pings, you're going to be pinged every spell that you cast. And so I don't disagree with you, guilty, at all.
Oh, yeah, not even to mention that he's pinging him every time he draws, too. Woof. How big is that Orcish army now? We're looking at, 12?
13, it looks like.
13?
From what I can see.
Woof. Lucky number 13. So, yeah, he's going to draw off the Ristic. Mental Misstep is on the stack.
And that's going to make him use resources because now you have to recast the gamble as well, and that's 2 more draws for Tev Kraum.
It got him a land, too, so he has more mana, but I don't really think mana is the problem here.
Well, it's helpful because now you don't have to rely on the LED to cast the Brain Freeze.
You don't. That is true, but he doesn't have the Brain Freeze. So with the gamble being countered, right?
But
how many cards does he have in his graveyard to be able to do this again?
Would you want to tap 0 blockers on board 13-13? Yeah, it's
Yes,
it's pretty scary. If he gets stopped, it's going to be a rough day for him. I think that I don't even think you would tap the Tarnished Citadel for the blue. I think at this point you're so low on life. Paying 3 life for 1 mana is not what you want to do. I would rather just get the LED and give him 2 more draws. Because then you're only paying 2 life at that point, assuming that you get hit for 2 by the OBM, rather than paying 3 for the Tarnished Citadel.
See, the odd thing here is if he gets to a point where he's still on the board, like he's still in the game, which obviously you want to be because you want to win the game.
Absolutely.
But the dockside count, right?
There's the gamble again, using that last floating red.
Doing the gamble again. Now, how many cards does he have left in his graveyard again? It's kind of off screen right now, so I can't see. But I can't imagine he has much. So he gets pinged again because of the Orcish Bowmaster. We're at a 15. I mean, this is at this point, you have to just keep going.
Yeah, there is no... Well, I think I'm going to stop right now and wait till I get a Savines and go for it again.
Hey, guys, it's not that bad. Come on.
I definitely think you even if the window wasn't there, you've kind of manifested your own window at this point.
Yeah.
And
sometimes it closes on your hand, you know?
I agree, Super Ones. It is now or never. You've manifested your own window. You have to go for it at this point. You've dedicated.
Actually, Super, you're probably right. It is a not rather than a now. Because I think he's going to get stopped. But honestly, if he jams and gets it, that'd be sick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, with the board set that they have right now.
Looks like we have a little bit of a camera adjustment. I appreciate that.
You're touching the camera. And all the while, Varragoth sitting back with the Dark Writ, Cabal Writ, and I was ready to rip.
Absolutely.
That'd be
just ready to go.
Could you imagine? No, why doesn't someone just play Urborg and help him out? Another cEDH staple.
I think at this point, if it gets back to Ob,
I think it gets back to if it gets back to Tevesh Kraum, this game.
I think if Jared gets stopped here, Emma's going to kill Jared. That there's no.
For sure.
You've already presented win. Now you're 1 card away from doing it again. And so I think at this point you take Blue Farm out, and then you start worrying about Caleb.
Honestly, I don't even think it's that Blue Farm is in a position to win after that. Right? Sudden spoiling. Let's go.
Agree.
Sandbag,
100%. 100%. Keeping that Slaughter Pact in hand.
I think it's more of the fact that you kill the Blue Farm player because the dockside count goes to 1.
Yeah.
And so that Displacer Kitten that's already been shown now flickers a dockside for 1.
Yep.
That's really not great. No, it's just now flicking a Mana Crypt at that point, which is still really good, right? I think that Tevesh Kraum now has how many draws? I mean, we're looking at least he had at least 12 cards in hand.
I think you make a good point, Super. I definitely think that going after Caleb is probably the better play here. Now that I'm looking at what y'all are saying and thinking about it a little bit more, I definitely think that taking out Caleb is a better play. If Jared does get stopped, he also has no blockers on board, and 15-15 getting smacked is that's relevant.
How big is the Orcish army now? Because unless it's 29 or 26 at that point, then it's not going to kill him because he can stop drawing cards.
That's true, but that also, with assuming that Jared gets stopped, he still has a Ristic on board unless somebody is going to bounce it or destroy it.
Yo, that'd be...
I'm going to not only stop you from winning, but I'm also going to take you completely out of the game.
Player removal is best removal. I don't know that.
I thought about the same thing, Guilty. I think a wheel coming next turn is something that could happen with the OBM on board, and that would be spicy.
That would effectively end it. But would they get Varragoth back? That's the real.
I mean, Varragoth's sitting at 40 life. You have 21 damage to ping out, assuming that it's a Wheel of Fortune, which is the only thing that Ob can cast now that I think about it.
Wheel of Misfortune.
Oh, they could do Misfortune. My bad. Burning Inquiry.
Well, what's that other one? That 1 mana one?
Burning Inquiry.
No, there's another one. It has like a ship on its art. You discard cards equal to the amount of cards in your hand. You draw that many.
Winds of Change.
Thank you, Joe.
See, this is why we play this. This is what we pay you the big bucks for, buddy.
Yeah. Check is in the mail. It's for 0. We don't pay him.
No, it's not. It's an X cost.
It's an X cost. All right, so Vamp Tutor on the stack from the Fellow Stone. It looks like they're trying to get him to draw more cards because he got the Savine's Wreck, right?
Yep.
So he pings him again. It is not end step because the breach is still on the board right now. So he's making him draw. He's gonna tutor up.
Probably a wheel. I do think it could be a Wheel of Fortune here.
I think that would be a very strong pick. Yeah, so now we are going to end step, it looks like, because he's picking up the Underworld Breach. Officially stopped, probably because, again, not enough cards in the grave.
Yeah, that mental misstep on that gamble definitely hurt. And then having to exile those 3 extra cards to recast the gamble definitely didn't bode well for Jared.
Yeah, but I think he was right to go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think he knew his window was closing very quickly. He just also realized, wait, I'm going to keep getting smacked. So, it keeps going.
And now you, again, have to worry about that Orc army coming at your face.
Exactly. I think now...
But I do think that you swing at Caleb here if you're Ob. If you're not going for the wheel, I think you swing at Caleb here.
100%. If you're going for the wheel...
If you're going for the wheel, I think you
100%.
swing at Caleb and you deal the 21 damage. You deal 20 damage to Jared off of the wheel.
100%. Especially because that also empties his hand after all those Ristic and Mystic draws.
Absolutely.
That's like 100%.
But you also have to expect interaction from Caleb if you put a wheel on the stack, knowing that you have an OBM and 21 damage and him only being at 27. I think
he knows that's a kill.
Absolutely.
If you're Jared, do you interact?
No. I think Caleb has now become public enemy number 1. There's the 3 mana. Do we see a wheel? Seething Song.
Seething Song to get Ob? Question mark? No.
Well, Ob I
think he had that in his hand. Seething Song? He didn't tutor for the Seething Song.
Well, not only that, Seething Song doesn't get you Ob unless you have a black source in hand.
Right. He hasn't played his land for turn.
That is true. But I think this Seething Song is going to be used for the wheel, and then you have 2 mana floating after that.
Yeah, which could also hold up interaction for a Pyro or Red Blast.
Absolutely.
So smart play by 100%. Emma.
Maybe it holds up both. They could have both.
Who's to say?
So let's see what they have. 5 red floating. Let's see what they put out here.
Twin Flame and Wheel ends the game. Because
100%.
That's what, 42 damage on the board?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's GG's if that resolves.
They're letting everybody draw, continue to take your life. That is perfectly fine.
Yeah, totally. I just want a bigger army. That's all I care about. But do they draw any interactions is the problem.
There's the Dualcaster. They win Twin Flame Dualcaster.
Yeah, didn't go for Wheel at all. Okay. Yeah, just outright win.
Ping both of them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Make them have it. That's the name of the game at this point. With Ob being in the position that they're in.
Absolutely.
Varragoth obviously doesn't have any interaction.
What do you mean? The Slaughter Pact. We talked about this.
That Slaughter Pact that you can't pay for.
Yeah, but like, offer the draw. Offer the draw.
Oh, Slaughter Pact. There it is.
There it is. They didn't have it.
And Amma took it with a dual caster Twin Flame.
Very nice. Good win for Ob, being in 4th seat.
Absolutely.
Being a really tough position and all those draw engines out. Okay. Yeah, super. Dual caster mage, one of my favorite things to do.
I prefer Heat Shimmer myself, just because Heat Shimmer I think has more utility.
Where'd you hear that from?
Than my head. My conscience.
I didn't realize your conscience was sitting next to you. Crazy.
Well, my conscience doesn't always sit next to me, only when he thinks that there's stuff going on.
Exactly.
Anyways, that was a fantastic win by Ob.
Yeah. I think sitting back and really just being like, yeah, draw your cards. You're going to be the one to interact with everything. I can't do anything to help you. And like we said earlier, when you wait for one person to go for it and the person uses all their interactions to stop the first win, and you're just there, ready to go. And that Vampire Tutor being in hand, that Thelwar still hold up, really solid. Okay, good timing on that. I did think Jared, though...
You have to go for it.
Yeah.
And Jared just got unlucky that the time that he had the ability to actually win, it was one turn too late.
Yeah.
And that's the bad thing about having the draw engines on board, is you focus so much on having the draw engines on board that you're unable to go for it sometimes, and that's just the way mid-range plays sometimes, and you just have to deal with it.
I mean, also, how many cards did Caleb draw and only have one piece of interaction?
Yeah, that was
that's crazy.
That was interesting. But we've seen that playing against each other as well. You've drawn me, or I've drawn you 30-something cards over the course of 2 games, and had one piece of interaction between both games.
Yeah.
It definitely, sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles.
Oh, good reference. Nice.
I'm here for you, buddy.
Nice.
All right, we're going to take a break for a second, and we will be right back.